Welcome back to Combat Sports Weekly. This is the part of the show where we take a look at the national and local headlines. Let's run with the national ones. A big welterweight contest took place this past weekend as Stephen Wonderboy Thompson and Johny Hendericks did battle again at UFC 182 in Las Vegas. Wonderboy coming away with the surprising first round TKO. After the victory, Wonderboy, who was a 2-to-1 underdog in this fight, shot up the welterweight rankings to number 3. In our roundtable segment, we'll discuss what's next for Wonderboy in that division. We move on to boxing. Andre Ward will be back in action. We finally know a date and an opponent. He will be taking on Sullivan Barrera, a fight that's been in the works for a while. This fight's set to take place a little over a month from now, March 26th. Very exciting news for boxing fans in this one. The winner is scheduled to face Sergey Kovalev sometime in the fall. Ward, someone who hasn't shied away from a fight with the light heavyweight champion Kovalev. Hopefully we get to see that fight. Speaking of light heavyweights, we move to the UFC as Daniel Cormier and John Jones's rematch will be taking place. It's been set, folks. April 23rd at the MGM Grand Arena in Las Vegas. Jones, who has been out of action since January 3rd, 2015, is more than a 3-to-1 favorite going into that one. We mentioned Tim Means being pulled from the main event of an upcoming UFC bout. We now know who is taking over for him and facing off against Cowboy Cerrone. It's another Cowboy. Alex Cowboy Oliveira is the new event for the UFC Fight Night 83 bout and card taking place in Florida. Oliveira steps in for Albuquerque's Tim Means after Means was pulled due to a potential anti-doping violation. More news on that whole Tim Means aftermath here in the weeks to come on Combat Sports Weekly. Little bit of surprising news, I think, to hardcore boxing fans. Floyd Mayweather Jr. this week was named the 2015 Boxing Writers Association of America's Fighter of the Year. Our roundtable will definitely tackle this one and give their suggestions on who the BWAA should have gone with. So that'll do it for the major national news that's gone down. Let's run with the local one. A big flyweight bout taking place this weekend here locally at the Pueblo of Pojoaque as Nick Urso and Jordan Espinoza will do battle at the Buffalo Thunder Resort and Casino. Again, a huge local and regional fight takes place this Saturday. Tickets are still available to that one. The victor could ultimately get a call up to the UFC. So very good. We were trying to come up with odds for this one, but we gave up trying because we feel that fight is that close. An old Nick Urso opponent, Ray Borg, was in action this past weekend. Again, Albuquerque's Fit NHB. Ray Borg was defeated by Justin Scoggins via unanimous decision at UFC Fight Night 82 this past weekend. The one-sided affair, and surprising one because some casinos had Ray Borg up to a 3-to-1 favorite, saw Scoggins implement just a technical display of brilliance for the most part in their 3-round battle. This is just the second loss of Ray Borg's career, but his second there with the UFC. A guy who hasn't seen a loss in a while is Cody East, out of Jackson's MMA, here out of the central New Mexico area. Again, the guy is the Legacy FC heavyweight champion. He defeated Kevin Asplund by first round TKO this weekend at Legacy 51. This marks the 9th straight victory in a row for the now 12-1 Albuquerque heavyweight. I'm not sure why the UFC hasn't called him up just yet, but nonetheless, this guy's a prospect with 9 wins in a row. UFC, what's up? Give this guy a call. Another guy that's ultimately going to get a call for some bigger fights as we move over to boxing, Brian Mendoza, based out of Rio Rancho and Albuquerque, won again this weekend. The guy seems to fight every weekend. Saturday, he defeated Joel Vargas in Dodge City, Kansas by TKO on an Empire boxing card. Mendoza improves to 13-0 with 9 KOs. Again, this guy seems to fight every month. You can expect a very busy 2016 from Brian Mendoza. That'll do it for the national and local headlines. Let's go right into the highlights. Here's the surprising one for you guys so you can see how it went down. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson and Johny Hendericks. Again, a 2-to-1 underdog. Look at the striking display from Thompson. Ed, I know you're sitting over there, man, but we were all wrong in this fight. We'll talk about that here at the roundtable. But all four of us last week on the roundtable picked Johny Hendericks, and boy, were we ever wrong. Wonderboy Thompson with the TKO in the first round. Check this out, making us all look like fools at the roundtable. Very impressive. Now you're number 3 ranked welterweight in the world. Here's another guy that used to be one of the top heavyweights, Roy Nelson, against Jared Rosholt here in their co-main event bout that same evening. Look at Jared putting in the pounding here for a little bit. You got big country Roy Nelson doing his best to keep him at bay. Country Nelson, you're just wondering how the dude with that big of a belly is that athletic, but you know, he's able to move in and out. I mean, laterally, has pretty good movement, but you know, that lack of head movement sometimes comes back to haunt him. And you saw it in display here a little bit, but his relentlessness nonetheless earns him the unanimous decision victory, snapping that 2-fight losing streak he had. This is a pretty entertaining bout between Ovince St. Preux and Rafael Cavalcante. St. Preux hurting that foot there. You'll see he'll be icing it here in just a moment, but nonetheless, that didn't stop him from being able to land some pretty significant strikes here against Cavalcante. Pretty good fighter in his own right. He's just a little wild here. You'll see the icing of the foot. Definitely some swelling took place in that round, but that didn't stop St. Preux from just putting in work. So you can see earning the takedown there. Just being sneaky with his attacks here in this one. Broken foot or an injured foot wasn't going to hurt St. Preux that night. That'll do it for headlines and highlights. We'll be back after the break with Josh Torres, who will have more information on the breaking news.